Known as the mini iQOO 15, this budget gaming beast, the iQOO Z11 Turbo Teardown, is finally here. Comparing it to the recent OnePlus Ace 6T and Honor Win RT, which one is actually the better deal? You'll have your answer by the end of this video. With a 200MP main camera, supporting 4x lossless crop, compared to the true 4x optical zoom on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, how big is the gap? To all the viewers who've been asking for the iQOO Z11 Turbo, I picked one up for 2,399 RMB as soon as it hit the shelves, and got this 12 plus 256GB model ready for a full teardown. Here we go. The back panel features a grading pattern, just like the iQOO 15. What I really like is this generation's camera module design. The sense of depth is executed perfectly. The 200MP selling point is even highlighted in the top left corner. The mid-frame has also been upgraded to metal. The 6.59-inch display, what they call a mid-sized device. I wonder if you prefer gaming phones to be the bigger, the better. Or, if you're looking for a more ergonomic balance. Alright, let's boot it up. Comparing the screen brightness with the Honor Win RT. The difference isn't very noticeable to the naked eye. The Honor side is slightly brighter. Now, let's compare them at minimum brightness. Why did the Honor screen turn so yellow? Oh, I see, the Honor has eye protection mode enabled. Wait, was that on just a moment ago? Looking back at the footage, the Honor automatically triggered eye protection once the brightness was lowered. Man, for those of you who love browsing on your phone, under the covers at night, you'll definitely appreciate this. Talk about tech with a human touch. As for the refresh rate, the Honor side hits 185 Hz. The iQOO maxes out at 144 Hz. Both phones allow for per-app refresh rate customization. However, for standard apps, both are capped at 120 Hz. Only in specific games can they match the in-game refresh rate settings. But that is normal, if you let them run wild at 185 Hz and 144 Hz. Even a 10,000 mAh battery would be able to keep up. Alright, that is it for the exterior, for now. Do the internal components of the Z11 Turbo live up to its reputation as the little iQOO 15? Let's dive straight into the teardown. First, heat the edges with a heat gun, then give it a good pull with the screen removal tool. Seeing the back cover flex like this, it is likely made of fiberglass. Once it is pried open, use a pick to slice through the adhesive around the perimeter. Despite the IP69 rated adhesive, the back cover is actually fairly easy to remove. Wait, I was wrong, the back cover is actually glass. I flexed it so much with the suction cup just now, and it didn't even crack. That shows the glass is incredibly high strength. Turning to the inside of the back cover, it is almost entirely covered by this graphene thermal pad. On top of the lens deco, you can also see 4 small metal pillars. These pillars connect to the motherboard, allowing the rear lens deco to double as a signal antenna. This kind of design is quite rare on devices with smaller decos. Alright, let's check out the internal build quality of the Z11 Turbo. On a scale of 1 to 91, how would you rate it? Vivo's build quality is consistently impressive and reliable. Everything is neatly arranged. Let's start by removing the motherboard cover. You can tell while unscrewing that they've applied specific torque settings to these screws. I even have to set my electric screwdriver to the second torque level. With higher torque applied to the screws, in the case of long-term use, the screws are less likely to come loose. Let's remove the motherboard cover. Oh, there is actually a significant amount of metal integrated into this cover. Wait, looking at the back, I'm a bit baffled. What is going on here? Are you telling me this thin piece is the top speaker? Holy, while the surface area is quite large. But in terms of thickness, it is barely thicker than the motherboard cover itself. Whose new black technology is this? Peeling back the graphene thermal pad, on the back we can see that the supplier for the top speaker is iQOO. I've honestly never seen this kind of form factor before. We'll test the sound quality of this ultra-thin speaker in a bit. Turning to the front, it is more standard, a single-tone flash, an IR blaster, and then underneath is a graphene thermal pad. It is normal for there to be no wireless charging at this price point. Now, let's remove the camera module. Front and rear, there are 3 cameras in total. The front camera is a 32-megapixel sensor, supporting a 0.8x ultra-wide angle, which is quite handy for group photos. The smaller one here is an 8-megapixel ultra-wide lens. The largest one is a 1/1.56-inch 200-megapixel ultra-large sensor, the Samsung HP5 main sensor. It supposedly supports 4x lossless crop zoom. Coincidentally, since the iPhone 17 Pro Max also has 4x optical zoom, we can do a side-by-side comparison to see if it is truly lossless. We can also take a look at how much of an improvement it offers over a standard 50MP crop. Starting with this one, times 200MP high resolution mode. After shooting with the Z11 Turbo, it takes about 2.5 seconds to process the shot. But the clarity of the final image is exceptionally high. You can see when zooming in on this red magic cooler, the circular texture on the metal logo. The Z11 Turbo captures it all clearly. However, when zooming in on the iPhone 17 Pro Max S1x main camera shot, those details are simply lost. Now, let's see if this 4x crop is truly lossless. By comparison, the results from this 200MP sensor crop are impressive. It is noticeably clearer than a standard 50MP crop. Compared to true optical zoom, the clarity falls slightly short, but it is remarkably close. Say choosing a 200MP main camera for the Z11 Turbo was a brilliant move. It doesn't take up too much internal motherboard space, yet still ensures more than adequate image quality. This perfectly balances camera performance for hardcore gamers. If you're a gamer who demands even better camera performance, check out its high-end sibling, the iQOO 13. It has a full triple lens setup, the Snapdragon 8 Elite, and the Q2 display chip. Second-hand price on Zhuanzhuan is currently only 2,300 yuan, which is a full 2,000 yuan cheaper than the 4,299 yuan launch price. Plus phones on Zhuanzhuan undergo multiple rounds of official quality inspections, so quality is guaranteed. Alright, let's go ahead and remove the motherboard. You can see the main heat zones are covered in plenty of thermal grease. However, it lacks a middle frame cutout for direct motherboard to VC contact. But that is not a major issue, because the Z11 Turbo's motherboard still uses it features a single-layer motherboard design optimized for heat dissipation. The core performance specs of the Z11 Turbo include a Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 processor, paired with LPDDR5X and UFS 4.1. It also features the same Q2 independent display chip found in the iQOO 13. Qualcomm's Snapdragon naming scheme is quite a mess lately. Many of you probably don't know whether this Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 or the Snapdragon 8 Elite is actually the more powerful one. I've put the specifications up on the screen for you. To summarize, in terms of low-load energy efficiency, the 8 Gen 5 is slightly better, but for peak gaming performance, the 8 Elite Street Ill holds the edge. It really comes down to your personal preference. Now, let's remove the bottom speaker. Checking the supplier, it is from AAC Technologies. The driver unit is fully enclosed, so the dimensions aren't visible. When this bottom speaker is paired with that ultra-thin top speaker, how will the dual speakers actually perform? Let's just compare it with another recent phone in the 2,000 to 3,000 yuan range. The Honor Win RT. The RT features a dual 12/16 configuration. Am I okay here? Hold me and kiss me on my lips. Okay, so is the difference obvious to you guys after listening? Moving further down, there is a small ribbon cable in the middle. At first glance, I'd mistake it for a short focus fingerprint sensor, but actually, the Z11 Turbo uses an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. That small cable just serves as an interconnect. Removing the bottom subboard, the USB port supports USB 2.0 transfer speeds. It supports 100W wired charging, and also features system-wide bypass charging. I removed and measured the vibration motor in the bottom right. It is a standard-sized 0809 motor. I noticed a subtle detail on this haptic motor. Because the right side of the motor is flush against the display ribbon cable, they've added a silicone cushioning pad on the right side. This prevents long-term vibrations from damaging the adjacent display cable. The attention to detail here is quite impressive. By the way, through the cutout in the charging port area, we can see that the Z11 Turbo uses a high-end GT9 series IC from Goodix, specifically the GT9916K touch chip. It boasts an instantaneous touch sampling rate of up to 3,200 Hz. Now, let's remove the battery. The entire battery pack feels quite hefty. The official specs state that it is a semi-solid state battery, which sounds pretty badass. The battery pack measures 5.4 millimeters thick, 65 millimeters wide, and 93 millimeters long. Flipping it over, the capacity is labeled as 7,600 mAh. Many of you might think that this battery's capacity isn't as large as the 8,000 mAh found in the Z10 Turbo. Will the battery life fall short? But you guys might be overlooking something. This phone is only 6.59 inches, so with a smaller screen, the overall battery endurance should be comparable. The battery manufacturer is still Dongguan Xinengde Technology, NVLT. It features a single cell with dual connector design, allowing for faster charging and a longer lifespan. So, this is what the internal components of the Z11 Turbo look like. Let's put everything back together. The competition is fiercest right before the Lunar New Year, especially in the 2023, 3000 RMB price range. You have the Honor Winner with its active fan, huge battery, and 185 Hz screen. The GT8 offers a periscope telephoto lens, while OnePlus, the Turbo 6 comes with a 165 Hz display. For those of you following smartphones, you've probably been dazzled by all the choices lately. Alright, reassembly complete. So, after watching this, are you guys going to pull the trigger right away, or wait for the Neo 8 and Redmi Turbo 5 Max? Let us know in the comments.